There is a stage within each of us, a space where we perform countless roles throughout our lives. We smile when we want to cry, nod when we want to scream, and pretend to be okay when we're unraveling inside. Behind that performance is a subtle force, silently pulling the strings and shaping how we act, speak, and present ourselves to the world. This force is the ego. The ego is not a villain, it is, in many ways, a protector. It is the part of us that craves validation, approval, and control. It wants to be liked, admired, and safe. In a world full of judgment, comparison, and expectations, the ego steps in to shield us from rejection and vulnerability. But in doing so, it often silences our truth. Over time, the ego begins to shape our identity. We internalize its whispers, molding our thoughts, decisions, and even self-image around what we believe will keep us safe. We start to believe that we are the mask we wear. That our worth is tied to how well we perform, how much we please, and how perfectly we appear. But the ego doesn't only affect how we see ourselves, it affects how we relate to others. In relationships, it builds walls where there could be bridges. It turns conversations into competitions. It makes us defend our pride instead of expressing our pain. It drives conflict, resentment, and a sense of separateness, all in the name of self-preservation. Yet beneath all that noise and performance lies something else, something more real, more powerful, and more enduring. Our authentic self. The authentic self is the unfiltered version of who we are. It doesn't perform. It doesn't crave applause. It is not motivated by fear or comparison. It simply is. And when we allow ourselves to live from that place, that raw, honest space, we tap into a life that feels deeply fulfilling. We experience joy that isn't dependent on achievement, connection that doesn't demand perfection, and peace that doesn't rely on external validation. Ignoring this authentic self, on the other hand, comes at a price. We begin to feel disconnected from life. No matter how successful we appear on the outside, there's a quiet dissatisfaction inside. A sense of hollowness. An anxiety we can't quite name. Because we are out of alignment, living a life shaped by fear rather than truth. To reclaim our authentic self, we must begin with awareness. Mindfulness allows us to notice when the ego is in control, when we speak to impress rather than to connect, when we react to defend rather than to understand, when we hide parts of ourselves out of fear. Simply observing these moments can begin to loosen the ego's grip. Journaling is another powerful tool. When we write without censoring, we give our inner world a voice. Over time, we begin to see patterns, where we people please, where we shrink, where the ego repeats the same fears. And once we see, we can begin to choose differently. We must also challenge the beliefs the ego has taught us. Beliefs like I'm not good enough unless I achieve, or I must be liked by everyone to be worthy. These are illusions. They are not truths, they are programs. And we have the power to rewrite them. To choose beliefs that empower, liberate, and honor who we truly are. Living authentically also requires vulnerability. It means showing up as we are, flaws, fears, and all. It means speaking honestly, even when our voice trembles. It means letting others see our truth, rather than curating an image we think they want. Vulnerability isn't weakness, it's the birthplace of real connection. And as we open up, we learn to protect our truth through boundaries. We begin to say no when our energy is being drained, when our values are being compromised, or when our time is being taken without respect. Boundaries are not about shutting people out, they're about honoring what is sacred within us. Choosing authenticity over approval is a daily practice. There will always be moments when the ego wants to take the stage again, to play the role that feels safer. But the more we choose our truth, the more alive we become. Authenticity is not a final destination. It's a lifelong journey of peeling back the layers of conditioning, fear, and performance. Each day, we are invited to return to ourselves, to listen more closely, speak more honestly, and live more freely. And something beautiful happens when we do. We begin to change the world around us. Not through force or persuasion, but through presence. When we live from a place of truth, we invite others to do the same. Our authenticity becomes a mirror, reflecting permission, safety, and inspiration for others to take off their own masks. This is the ripple effect of authenticity. One person, living truthfully, creates a wave of genuine connection, compassion, and courage. The world is full of noise, image, and illusion. But what it needs, what we all need, is truth. And that truth begins with you. So, take off the mask. Quiet the puppet master. And step into the light of who you really are. You are not your ego. You are not your performance. You are your presence, whole, worthy, and enough.